What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, this is an addendum to the video I did yesterday about Dark Unicorns and Ponies acting a fool, being scared because of the notion of Steam being on the next Xbox. Let's just call it that, the next Xbox. One thing I didn't mention, which someone in chat did, I can't remember who did it, but I appreciate you, whoever you did. I appreciate it. And it was that this whole money hatting thing that Sony's been doing all this generation. I mean, let's be real. Microsoft started it in the 360 generation, sure, but not to this extent. They started it and they said, okay, we're just going to do time exclusives, and that's what they did. And eventually the stuff came out to PS3. But, Sony took it to a next level. 2 years, never going to Xbox, all these things, right? But of course, the market dictated otherwise. And so all these third parties are like looking at Sony like, no. So if Steam is able to be accessed through Xbox, through the next Xbox, you can play your Steam games on Xbox. Now it is impossible for Sony to money hat Xbox with the third parties. They can't do a Wukong, right? They can't say, oh, technical difficulties, or, oh, we paid for the production. If they put it on Steam, it's a wrap. That's it. So a couple of things might happen. This move may force Sony to not put their games on Steam. Also, it may force them to try to do a timed exclusivity with third parties. But I don't think third parties are going to go for that, because they're looking at what Xbox is doing, and then they see how everybody's like, yeah, let's go. And everybody's going to be buying this Xbox because of the Steam thing. And if you're not on Steam, then you're missing out on the extra 40, 50 million players that are the gamers that buy games. You know what I mean? Because they bought consoles. So if you're a PC dev that you're going to be on Steam anyway, now, the conundrum is, are we going to do a PlayStation version? Because that's extra work. I mean, if we just do a PC version, it's on PC and on Xbox. Oops. And so this, man, look, I was about to say there's some big brains in Microsoft. Yes, there are. But this should have been kind of realized a long time ago, because Microsoft owns Xbox. Microsoft owns Windows. How could you not have thought in your brains? I know why, but I'm just saying, in a perfect world, you say, well, we have Windows and we have X. Can't we smash them together and make, can't we make Xbox part of Windows and it's just seamless? But see, that's the thing. That's the politics and the politicking within these big corporations and big companies. Xbox was the redheaded stepchild for years. That's why it took them so long to become the behemoth that they are, is because it took Phil Spencer. Before Phil was in office, Xbox was like, yeah, nah. Microsoft was like, it's all about Windows, baby. And they were like, Xbox, psh, yeah, you get the scrap, son. What? How much you want? Nah, get out of here. They weren't giving them any money, no budget for this and that and the third. They were treating them like crap. They thought, the Windows dudes thought the Xbox, when they were just developing the first Xbox, they were like, y'all a joke. They were laughing at them. And the Xbox dudes were like, yo, man, come on, But now, who's laughing now? Windows. I mean, Windows is on everything, right? So they're still the big dog. But honestly, with Call of Duty, with the ABK deal, Xbox, I think, is making more money than Windows now. So a lot more? I don't know. I don't know what the numbers are, but that's what I heard, but whatever. So now they can't treat Xbox the way that they used to treat Xbox. And the happy medium is to make Xbox front and center when it comes to gaming, obviously. I mean, could you have an Xbox dashboard on enterprise PC in your lawyer's office or something? Sure. I mean, I don't see why it's not just like an app that you download that, makes a dual boot or something. I don't know, dual OSs or something, whatever. But this thing, and Xbox being a powerful entity within Microsoft, is changing the dynamics within Microsoft as far as how Xbox is being treated, what attention it gets, the money it gets, because of the money they're taking in now. And like I said, it's not like, oh, Xbox is trash, Steam will never go for that, and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. Gabe is looking at them. I mean, I know Gabe in the past, he's like, whatever, Xbox, I used to work for them, blah, I don't like them, blah, 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 right? But he's looking at them now, and business Gabe is like, well, I'm not going to say what I thought. He's like, what? I mean, okay, let me use my Gabe brain. If I put Steam on the Xboxes, which are basically PCs, then I get 40, 50 million more potential buyers of Steam games, because not all Steam games are going to be on Xbox, obviously, because that's not how it works. So it's not a detriment to Steam to be on Xbox. Now, I've heard the Dr. Unicorns and the ponies argue that, oh, it's going to cannibalize their marketplace in their store and blah, 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 right? That's what they say. That's what the ponies say. Oh, nobody's going to buy their games on the Xbox store. It's not about that, because, were they getting super sales? No, not really. People were buying most of their stuff on Steam if they're going to be on PC anyway. So PC games, Steam ecosystem people are still going to buy their games on Steam regardless, right? So that's not what they're trying. They're not trying to grab Steam players and bring them over to Xbox. That's not the play. And that's the problem with these ponies and donkey unicorns. They think that's the only way to be successful. That's what they think Sony is going to do. Sony can't do that, because Steam players, PC gamers, are not going to go from Steam to PlayStation. That's not how it works. And so with Xbox and Steam like that, you buy an Xbox, you throw it under your TV. I can put my whole library. Your whole library comes up, right? You're like, I'm playing all my games. This is great. And so now you just got a PC gamer who's on Steam deep, got thousands of games, to buy an Xbox, because convenience. That's why. And people who have thousands of games on Steam want to keep their thousands of games, want to have it accessible easily. And so if you make the Steam experience like a console, like the Steam Deck, but it's under your TV and it has better graphics than the Steam Deck, more powerful than the Steam Deck, come on, son. It's like, I got a handful of games on Steam. I don't use it that much. We have our game on Steam, so we test it on there and stuff. But it's having that, being able to play our game on a giant TV through my Xbox controller is great. It's great for devs. Hello. And it's great for just casual people who are like, oh, what is the Steam? They go in there. There's a bunch of free games. I think there's some demos. There's some naughty games too, so you gotta watch out. It opens up a giant floodgate of just content wars. That's what we're talking about now. Content wars. And if you think about content wars solely, and you look at the content that PlayStation is providing to the industry, and you look at what Xbox is providing to the industry, there's no competition. Xbox wins. Xbox number one. Xbox wins. You can, Crab Gamer's an idiot. Mooch is an idiot. All these ponies and donkey unicorns are idiots if they try to argue otherwise. Like, oh, but quality over quantity. Shut up, because that's not what we're talking about, okay? The games are quality. Just because your opinion is subjective doesn't mean that it's right. All right, so you take your PlayStation quality and you say hello to Concord on the way out. That's all I'm saying. And even though that game wasn't horrible, it wasn't up to snuff enough that it failed. The biggest failure in the history of video games. Thank you. I like to mention it every time because that's the facts. But anyway, so this move kind of smacks Sony, smack through the internet, and it says, yeah, you can't do that third-party money hatting anymore. And it's literally impossible to do it now, because if a developer is going to make a game, it's either they're only going to make it for PlayStation, otherwise cutting off any type of money, unless Sony's going to give them a really big bag. But even the biggest bag is still less, I would say, than what they would make potentially with Steam as well. And they know this. They're looking at Square Enix, and they're looking at all these failures of giant, more big companies, and they're saying, well, the only way that it would work is if Sony gave them a big enough bag that it was like, okay, this is all we need, and Sony gave them that, and they'd be like, okay, we don't need anything we get extra is fine, but we don't need anything extra. This covers our costs and gives us enough money, startup capital for the next game. Cool. But then it's just a PlayStation 3 third-party exclusive. That is it. It's not on Steam. And so, and especially if Sony publishes it, I mean, they can't make that Steam money. And so they're leaving money on the table because they don't want Xbox gamers to play their game on Xbox, on their Xbox, playing PlayStation games on Xbox. And the whole play for Sony is to not have people buy an Xbox for Steam to play PlayStation 4, but that's not what they're buying it for. People will buy the Xbox that plays Steam games for the Steam games, not for PlayStation games, even though they're on there or whatever, and there's a potential that they will be on there. That's not what the sell is. The sell is everything else that's on Steam that does not exist on Xbox. And I'm thinking about that. I'm like, damn, I could get lost looking at games. Like, damn, let's just look at the thousands of games. I forgot what the number was. It was like 100 and something thousand games a day get uploaded to Steam, get released. I'm like, that's a big, I mean, most of them are garbage. There's a lot of trash. Let's go, asset flips and all this stuff from Unreal. But there's a lot of like little indie games that are dope and cool and stuff. They got a bunch of VR stuff if you're into that. I don't have VR, but if Xbox plays Steam games, then potentially they could also play VR. I'm just saying, nobody said nothing. Nobody, out of all these people talking about this, I haven't heard anybody say anything about the potential of the next Xbox being able to play PC VR through Steam. I haven't heard it, but I'm saying it right now. Right now, the next Xbox gonna play VR PC. Thank you. I get the MetaQuest 29, whatever it's up to, whatever the cheapest MetaQuest is at the time. I mean, 3, maybe 4 will be out by then. Who knows? I just want the nice high quality refresh rate so I don't get like, I don't get all nauseous. But yeah, why come nobody's talking about that, huh? Plus, Steam PC, all of the peripherals that are available, not just keyboard and mouse, I mean just everything else. You got the flight sticks and all. I would assume that stuff would be like just the PC versions would be compatible with whatever Xbox is doing because it's playing the PC version of games, right? If it does that. So I mean, people are like trying to minimize it and saying, oh, it's a PC, Xbox is out of the console market, or the console war is over because Xbox forfeit or stuff like that. I'm like, you don't understand. Xbox is changing the parameters of the game. They're changing the rules. And they're so smart that they said, well, we got Windows. We already on. We basically have them. They don't have the monopoly, but they basically have it, if that makes sense. Whatever, 90-something% of PC sold are Windows PC, I would assume. Something like that. I don't know what the actual number is, but it's high. And so they're like, how come we can't make all these PCs are basically Xboxes. They're different, but how can we make this happen, right? And I think they're figuring it out. I think they're figuring out how to make it so that every PC is potentially an actual Xbox. Like it behaves like an Xbox, it looks like an Xbox, it feels like an Xbox. It's as easy as an Xbox. The potential for them to just take over the industry. Sony was talking about leapfrogging. I don't think they realized that this is what the big play was. Not ABK, sure. ABK is a big get as far as, IP and players and stuff like that and money coming in. Yes, we're not going to minimize that at all. But this, Steam on Xbox, is possibly the biggest kind of movement in video games, I would say, in the history of it. Just like Concord was the biggest failure, I think this may be the biggest achievement in video game history because it knocks out Sony in multiple ways, in multiple levels. First, as far as exclusives go, PlayStation, they lose their money-hatting ability. They can't do it anymore. They can, but then they lose the potential of making sales because they don't have they don't have the numbers. They don't have the console numbers to sell as much as if they would with PC, right? I would say they would sell less than half. Like Helldivers, I think was 7 something million, and it was just more on PC. Bottom line. And so, you have that, and then they're stuck. They can't make that money, that PC money, and their whole business model as far as, we're making exclusives so people buy this console. If you take exclusives off the board, right? Xbox exclusives, PlayStation exclusives, right? And you say the next Xbox is an Xbox that can play Steam and good old games and Epic Game Store and all these other things. And then PlayStation is PlayStation. You can play PlayStation 5 games, but PlayStation 6 games too. But that's it. Which one you gonna buy? Knowing that a lot of PlayStation games are on Steam already. And possibly they're not going to stop that because, remember, Hiroki Totoki's all about that money. So the fact that Xbox can play Steam games, potentially PlayStation games, that's just more money. So Hiroki's like, yo, if they sell a lot of consoles, it's kind of the reverse of what's going on right now with Xbox and PlayStation, where Xbox is like, we can put our games on PlayStation and make money. Same thing that PlayStation is going to say about Xbox. Like, we can put our PlayStation games on Xbox and make money. That's what's going to happen. And if you don't think that, go look at what Hiroki Totoki been talking about for the past couple of years. Making that money, putting it on different consoles, putting it on different places where compute exists. That's where our games are going to be. All this stuff. And I forgot what the new guy's name is, the new CEO. But they're all about that money. So, if y'all want to wish that Sony's going to be coming back somehow, somewhere, they're not. And also, what's his face? Shawn Layden was in an interview with Destin, and he was talking about, they were kind of lamenting the AAA space, and, oh man, that's so cool, but now it's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. And the title of this video will probably be Sony killed the AAA console market or something, I don't know. But the fact that Sony can't make those AAA games anymore, boom. And if they try, like say Spider-Man 3 will be AAA, let's just say that, it's going to be derivative. It's going to be just like Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man Miles Morales. But they're going to cut it into 2 or 3 pieces so that if you divide it, if you say, okay, so say if it costs 300 million or 350 or whatever they said it was going to cost, you divide it, then it's only 175 or 175 each. Then that's more manageable, but the game will be shorter, 8 hours or something, like maybe 10 hours. But I would argue that that's better because then the game is more concentrated and succinct and just not as bloated, So I think that it seems like a good plan, but I don't know if the Donkey Unicorns and the well, you know what? I'm not even gonna finish that sentence. I'm gonna take it back because they will eat whatever Sony feeds them. So whatever. But this move by Microsoft is so diabolical. I was like, damn. And like Shawn Layden was lamenting, and they was like, oh man, it was so, like, for our business and the strategy, it was a good strategy to have all these third-party games. Money had exclusives for the PlayStation 2 and 1 and 2 back in the day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, all right, I mean, sure. I mean, they were like struggling to have competition because it's like the Saturn was a competition for PS1, right? Not even close. And then the Dreamcast came out, and then the PlayStation 2 came out, and then money had it, all that stuff too. The same thing that they're trying to do to Xbox, but it's not working because Microsoft is not Sega. Sega was not Microsoft. And so that tactic that they tried that many years ago that worked on Sega, a fledgling company, not fledgling, but they were in trouble of their own doing. That's not working now because it's not the same company. And especially when Satya Nadella is like, yo, here's the checkbook. Go get him, Phil. Go get him. He opened up the floodgates. He's like, yo, y'all got billions. Billions. More than our competition is worth. Go get some stuff. Go make us some money, boy. And he was like, yes, sir. And that's what happened. So, these Donkey Unicorns and these ponies, they're clueless, and they're grasping at straws, trying to justify their position, or Sony's position, or to maintain their position in the industry, and it's slipping away. It's slipping away right in front of their faces. And when one pretty good game comes out for PlayStation, they're like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good!" And look, when the dust settles, when the dust clears, Sony's going to be PlayStation will be a smaller company. They cannot compete with the size of Microsoft, with the size of Xbox. And like I said, with the Steam, if that goes down the way it's going to go down, if that goes down the way everybody thinks it's going to go down, it's a wrap, literally. It's like, well, y'all, the only thing that Sony could do is do exactly what Microsoft is doing and put Steam on the PlayStation, and then all these Duck Unicorns and Ponies are going to lose their minds. Look, the PlayStation apocalypse is on its way. Just saying, y'all, I mean, I see it from a mile away. I see it from 100,000 miles away. But y'all don't see it because you're blinded. Your blinders are on, ponies. You should be wild horses, but you're freaking, you're in Louisiana pulling wagons. Pulling tourists around the French Quarter. Anyway, I appreciate you hanging out. Like, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think about the move, the Steam move, the potential downfall of PlayStation and all these things, and the potential uprising of Xbox, the Phoenix from the flames. But I catch you on the next one. Till the way.